Hello and welcome to another glorious read. I am your host, Aspen M. Sage. Let's get into it. First of all, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day or afternoon, depending where you are in the world. It is cold here. The leaves are changing wicked fast. It is October. It is my favorite time of the season, not just because it's spooky season. I do love Halloween and Samhain. I am waiting. I do hope everybody enjoyed their full moon. It was a crazy one, being in Aries. A little snippet there. But like I said, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. I hope they had a great start to their day. So let's get into it. I am working on a few things for the shop. My shop is called Thistles and Stones. It is a Squarespace, or not Squarespace, but Square website. I am working on a couple things. I might be adding some book review pamphlet for all you avid readers out there. And I am working on some wooden combs and possibly thinking about making some rosemary hair products to go along with my healthcare, medical, beauty, whatever you want to call it. So I want to start with, I was waiting on the book called The Eclipse Sector by Alexi C. Faust, and I thought it was coming out October 17th, but it's not. It is coming out in November, so I have to wait longer. I know, big sigh. So, with that being said, I had to shove in a couple more books, and then I fell into some series. But right now, we are going to go over the Hell's Night series that I was reading by Leanne Ryan. This book is book 2, called The Knights of Secrets. So this book actually revolves around one of the characters named Danger. Danger is kind of one of those characters that's on the sidelines. You hear about him in the first book. He's kind of in the shadows, and he's got some power, but everybody's not sure what he exactly is, or who, for that matter, says he keeps his identity hidden behind a mask. So, falling into the story, this book is about Danger, aka Gabriel. So Gabriel actually lives 2 lives. He is actually the son of a well-known shifter senator who tries to play well. He falls into his daddy's back pocket, and he also wants to be a Hell's Knight and be a rebellion. So Danger kind of lives these 2 lives that he doesn't know exactly what he's going to do with himself. He's very solitary in his big mansion, and all of a sudden, one day when he comes home from his ride on his motorcycle and puts his vest away, a lawyer shows up with an Omega, throws her at him, and says, I need you to watch her because she's in danger of the Purist. I do correct that because I know last podcast I said Puritans, but it is not. It is the Purist. That is the gang or mob, whatever you want to call it, the bad people of the story's actual name. So Gabriel doesn't know what to do with this random Omega that was just thrown at him. Her name is Charity, and Charity is a sassy woman. She has a lot of dirty thoughts that go through her mind, but she's very, holds back because of how she was raised and how she appears. So Charity is actually a bigger woman, and she's curvy. I love how Leanne, does this because I suffered from, weight and curves and stuff a little bit and was always picked on, and poor Charity throughout this book is constantly ridiculed by her mother about her weight and her curviness, but this woman takes it in stride. I am so proud, even though she's a character. She is basically every woman should look up to, because this man had made her feel beautiful and loved, even though she thinks that she isn't capable of it because of her weight. And he basically tells her that she is perfect how she is. And honestly, that just made me feel so warm that Gabriel looked at her and he's like, nope, you are perfect. You smell great. He's like, you are basically the Omega of my dreams that I thought I'd never have. So Charity is basically on the run. No different than Brooke in the first book, where her father is actually part of the Purist. He's getting paid by them, and they're trafficking Omegas. Charity has to, she finds out about it. She overheard the conversation, and now she is, she's in a bind where she has to marry one of them just to keep her mouth shut. And her father doesn't know exactly how to handle it other than to agree. Well, now she has all this information on the purists and what they're doing, and the lawyer's trying to get hard evidence. They find out some of the cops are involved, and so she needs a safe place to hide, and she ends up in Danger's house. Well, the funny part about like all this is she knows that he's a shifter. Or, well, she actually didn't realize it at first until he mentions it, and they kind of have a spark, but neither of them are acting on it, and he basically tells her all about himself and how he has money, but he's yet keeping the Hell's Knights out of it, because he doesn't want to scare her being basically this renegade of a biker gang. But when he does finally show her his shifting, he is actually not what most people hear about shifter books. He is actually like a black jaguar or a panther, I'm guessing. So she calls him a kitty cat, and he doesn't like it. He's like, I am not a kitty cat. I am a shifter. I am a predator. And she's like, you're a kitty cat. And it's just funny how they interact with each other and how they love to banter. And it's just so heartwarming to see it. But mid through the story, he does buy her stuff, and they become very close, and there is the spice that everybody loves. I definitely give it a 3 to a 4. It's a little bit in between. There's a lot of foreplay in the front, but it's okay. They do have where she goes into heat, and she tells him that, and he's very excited about it, but he tells her that he's going to wait until she's ready to accept him. But during the book, her sister, I forget I want to say it's Chastity, I think, who's a beta, who's also human like Charity, and she comes back, and basically the purists pick her off because they're trying to get Charity to come to them to basically make the exchange. If not, she was going to get sold along with the Omegas. So Danger goes to the Hell's Knights, goes to Sebastian and Carl, and tells them, hey, I need your help. And of course the Hell Knights are all over it. They're like, yeah, we're not going to stand up for Omegas to be trafficked and all that stuff. That's not right. Women should be protected. So they go in. Gabriel does save Charity's sister. And of course, Charity goes right into heat. The poor girl doesn't know what to do with herself. But once her sister comes back, they end up staying with Brooke's mother, who's that lovely beta woman that called out an alpha by his full name that I still get a kick out of and laugh so hard about just thinking about it. But so yeah, the Mrs. Foss keeps them keeps Charity's sister, and she sends basically Danger and Charity away, going, hey, you go take care of that. Your sister doesn't want to hear about it, doesn't want to think about it. And she goes, yep, I'll stay here. Don't worry about it. I can take care of myself. So what's funny to me is when they're riding back on his motorcycle, Charity's nestling against him. She's in full-blown heat. She wants to basically be close to him, listening to his purr. When he gets home and he parks the car, he's like, hey, Charity, we're back. And she's like, uh-huh. And he goes, don't you want to go nest? I laugh so hard when she pops her head up and she goes, nest, and just runs off the bike, nearly tripping. And she basically makes this whole nest in his bedroom where they were intimate before. And he's like, sees that she's moving underneath the blankets that she made of her nest. And he's like, hey, you gonna let me in? And he basically growls out her name, and she pops her head out and she's like, oh yeah, absolutely, Alpha, come on in. Like, she was so tired from enjoying from the events that she didn't like realize that he was there. But at the same time, she did, and she's like, oh yeah. And then they go into a full-on heated session. So during this, Gabriel does end up mating Charity. They are now bonded mates, and she is happy about it, even though she's human. And his father finds out, and his father is livid because, you know, of who Charity is. She's a human and not standard to his whole political standings. And basically, Gabriel's like, well, I'm not your call boy anymore. He goes, I have a mate now. I have an Omega I care about. You don't mean nothing to me. Well, the thing is, his father's livid about it, and Gabriel's like, well, go cry yourself a river. I don't care. So they basically, throughout the story, you hear them compare each other's families, and they realize that they're a lot alike. Where Gabriel has to bend to the will of his father, and Charity has always tried to be a good girl for her mother. And yeah, so it comes to the end of the book where his father basically accepts Charity, and he goes, "Oh, now she's one of us, so nobody will dare bat an eye." And Gabriel's like, "Okay, thanks, Dad. Now you're being a good guy, for your political reason because you have people here." But it comes to the point of the book where Charity is accepted, and Gabriel finally realizes that he shouldn't hide his identity to keep face with his father. The Hell's Knights now know who he is. They realize, some of them realize who he is. He stops wearing his mask. And it's a really good book. Like, I loved how quick their relationship bloomed, even though they're like, this is wrong, but we're going to do it anyway. It's just really nice how he accepted her who she was, and he never talked down to her. And Charity did the same for him by going, just because you want to live who you are doesn't mean you have to save face. Like, if you want to be this renegade being the Hell's Knight, go for it. She goes, it's not your father's decision. So she's helping him just as much as he's helping her. And it's just a love, like, it's every relationship wants that understands each other. And it's just so beautifully how it's done. This book, it definitely gave it a 5. I could have done a 4.5. But it's such a beautiful book done. Lycan Lyons did awesome. I am waiting for her 3rd book that should be coming out in December about Carl, our bear shifter. I'm excited because Carl is always that grumpy guy who's also very protective and loving in the book. I'm really hoping she does a book on one of the characters called Patches. I'm kind of curious about him because he's such a silent type. I haven't heard about him shifting yet. I have some questions about him because I'm wondering if he's actually a snake shifter a little bit. I'm not sure. But it's definitely one of those things that I am waiting on, and it is on my list, and I will read it. Alright guys, I want to talk about the next series. This book I found way back when on social media. It's been sitting on my to-read shelf for so long, and I'm just like, you know what? Finally, I'm like, well, I gotta fill out some books to read while I'm waiting for the Eclipse Sector. I am gonna read it. And this book had sucked me in so hard that I'm already trying to read all the series I can of it, or the books on it. It's called His Lost Luna, Lycan Luna, sorry. So it's His Lost Lycan Luna, and it's a Lycan Luna series by Jessica Hall. This book killed me so bad. I have never wanted to go through a book so bad and slap the main male character and be like, man, you need to smarten up before you screw up so bad. So our characters are, our main character is King Kyson. There's Ivy, his beta Damien, his gammas Gannon, Liam, and Dustin. There are some others, and her best friend Abby. All right, so starting the story, Ivy and Abby are the rogue werewolves. Apparently, they're stuck in an orphan. They are treated horribly. This book does hit some trigger points for you who don't take violence well or any type of abuse well. I am sorry. This book does hit some points. So Ivy and Abby are they're rogues. They are not treated kind. When they turn of age, Abby is already of age. She's already shifted. Ivy has a couple months to go. Their fate is decided by the alpha of that pack they live in. They were sentenced to death instead of freedom or being accepted to the pack. But faithfully on this day, the Lycan King Kaysen and his guards come in to find out why rogues are coming up dead. And they think it's this pack. Well, Kaysen is very attracted to Ivy, and he basically sends Damien after her to find out why or where she was going. So he's already mind linked with his guard, saying basically if they go up for sale, you buy the dark-haired one. And he's like, nope, they're being sentenced to death. He goes, well, stop it. So when Kaysen actually goes and stops the execution, he saves both Ivy and Abby and brings them back to his castle. They are now servants, but he finds out that they're wicked abused, and he's not thrilled about it. He finds out Ivy is actually his bonded mate, and he finds it weird because he's a Lycan and she's a werewolf. Most of the time it doesn't work that way, but he is deeply in love with her. He does everything in the first book to keep her happy, trying to break her of her torment that she lived through, trying to break her of like her fear of him. And it takes his guard to basically be like, hey, you know, you're scaring her, you need to stop scaring her. So you come to find out that there's a pact that was made that they have to protect the queen over him at any cost. And they already know that she's his mate. She just doesn't know it yet because she hasn't turned of age. There are some trigger points where she's slightly underage, but there is floor play. There's a lot of there's some spice scenes. But Kaysen's very respectful of her, and Ivy's starting to grow. Abby's working there with her, and it's kind of like two stories in one because Abby and Ganon kind of click together, and Ganon's also a Lycan, Abby a werewolf. But I guess in this world, Lycans can change werewolves into other Lycans. So Ganon's trying to get her to fall for him a little bit. But there's a little secret going on there a little bit. I can't tell you because I can't recall if it was said in the first book or not. But Dustin is very attached to Ivy. He's one of the guards. He follows her everywhere. There is a female Lycan that likes the king and treats Ivy very poorly. So you'll hear about her. But Beta, Damien, and Ganon, and Liam's a little unhinged. He's kind of like the executioner for the king, but he's also funny. This world is very, like, it drags you in. So, needless to say, Ivy comes of age, and Kaysen finds out that the woman that murdered his sister and unborn child and her mate in their bed, there's part of the hunters, as they call them, who are basically trying to exterminate all of the Lycan royalty. They're coming back around every 5 years, and it's the 5-year anniversary of his sister's death. He finds out that Ivy is related to her. So he is furious with her. He's taking out his anger on her, and she just turned of age, and she finds out that he is her fated mate, and come to say, things go south really, really bad, like really quickly. He starts calling her things. He starts treating her no different than any other person who has treated her like a rogue. This book ends on a cliffhanger. I have never hit the purchase now button so fast on book number 2. So the book was really good how it started. That he's like, okay, this makes sense, this thing. I had so many guesses going on, like, I'm like, okay, she has blue eyes. Werewolves don't have blue eyes. She's got extended fangs. She's not supposed to have extended fangs. She's got claws. She's not supposed to have claws. I'm like, are you sure she's a werewolf and not a Lycan like you? Like, hello, hint, hint, flash, flash. Maybe you need to look into this. I had so many things going on that I was like, oh my god, this is torture. I've screamed at books, and then like there was things that happened. I was like, Abby, no, and like I had people and my husband look at me and go, what are you getting so worked up about? I'm like, I have never been so more worked up on how the story's playing out, and it just ended on a cliffhanger. I'm like, this is unacceptable. Oh, this book like tore me through a loop, but I love it how it starts. Every chapter is about different characters, but like I said, this book also, or the series has two stories basically going on. It's Ivy and Kaysen, and then there's Abby and Gaiman. So they kind of like, it's like the story flows, and it tells you each view of the character, but it's different events going on. So I do love how this book is written. Jessica Hall, she sucked me in, and I am not going to stop until the whole series is read, because this book is just, series is tearing me apart, and I love it. Jessica Hall, you did a wonderful job. Leanne Rhynes, she also did a wonderful job. Lexifa, you guys all just do amazing, fantastic work, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I can't believe the stories that you guys create, and none of them are the same, ever, and I love it. So I'm going to stop there because those are my two book reviews. Next time I will talk about his Lycan Luna. I'm going to try to get through book 2 and 3 without losing my insanity and keeping it. And of course, I'm still working on my own work between the crafts for my store and my own books. I have thought about different books that I could write along. I might jump back to my Demigod Celestial series, but I'm still working on my Fox and Hound book kind of thing called The Chase. So I am a very busy woman when I want to be, but I do want to make sure I keep reading and keep sharing reviews with you guys. So definitely I will give his Lost Luna a 5-star, permanently 5-star. Spice Scenes a 3 because it is foreplay, but I definitely, guys, read the series. It is amazing. The same with Leanne Rhynes. Read them. Read the books. You won't be disappointed. There is some not spelling errors, but quotations or punctuation marks, there we go, that are off, and it kind of makes me question, but it doesn't take away from the story. It really doesn't. If you get sucked into the book like I did, you will not, be sorry about it. Because the adventure's there, the drama's there, the funniness is there, the mating's there. It's just amazing how it's done. But like I said, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your guys' day. I will catch you next Friday with the next podcast. But like I said, guys, I really do hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope you keep smiling. I hope you keep reading. And, of course, post those book reviews. Everybody likes their own input. Remember, every book is not the same for everybody. I prefer shifters and smut, or drama and adventure and fantasy. I will never change that probably time of reading. But I hope you all still have a fantastic day. Smile lots. Keep those positive vibes because nobody else deserves them other than yourself. But thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.